Yeah, so I trust that helps you understand your intuition and how you can trust it. And I'll probably pop little parts of that in throughout the eCourse, as I have been doing anyway, as I see fit, as it fits in. So let's just talk about the aura and the chakras now. So I have this year, in 2019, I have hosted a chakra series, which is free. I'm sharing freely, and there's like an hour video or something, around an hour, on each of the 7 major chakras. So there's so much more in those videos than I could ever cover in 10 or 15 minutes here. So I recommend that you visit the chakra series if you want to understand your 7 major chakras better or deeper. But let's talk about them now anyway, just so we can tap on into them, because we're going to need it when we do our aura drawing shortly. Okay, so let's just touch on the energy a little bit. So I have a little roughly drawn human body. And basically we have 7 major chakras. Well, I feel that we do. I've connected in with mine and other people's a lot, so it resonates with me. Chakras are vortexes of energy that vortex out or into our body. They vortexes of energy that draw in life force and expel out life force as well. So when they're functioning healthily, it helps run the energy through our body. As they become, as one or more become blocked, it stops the flow of energy. So then what I would do from my healing work that I do, I'd look into that, explore what the block is, get that out, shift that, and get the energy flowing again. Our chakras, our energy system, runs through what we call the kundalini, which is the energy that runs up and down through the spine, at various points in our life, sometimes a couple of times a year, sometimes just once a year or once every other year. We have what we call a kundalini awakening, and that's where our chakras, the frequency, the vibration, if you like, of our chakras energetically has reached a certain point that's determined by the energy, not by us. Once it reaches a certain vibration, a certain level, if you like, we have a surge of our kundalini energy that lifts our chakra system, our vibration, our aura to the next level. And then we learn, we shift things. So that's where we work through layers of our issues and wounds that might come up at that next level. So as we clear and move and shift and get these running nicely, then we'll go through, when the time and the moment's right, another kundalini activation that then activates and takes our chakras to another level. So it's a constant, I guess, a rising and working out of our energy vibration, our frequency. So we're talking now about energy, and it's natural for it to rise. I don't feel that we can, it doesn't make sense to me that we could upgrade our energy when we've still got wounds. So it's like a bird, like a pelican with sandbags. Let's say it's got sandbags hanging off its legs, and that represents its wounds, which create a density energetically. So that pelican might want to fly high, but it can't fly higher than the weight of this baggage that it's carrying. So as it clears its baggage and it cuts those sandbags off, then it's got more buoyancy, I guess, or lightness, where it can lift up to new heights. And that's sort of what happens with energy. So when people have said that they've awakened and upgraded their energy, but they're not doing any work on shifting any of their blocks or issues or wounds or fear, the barriers, I'm kind of a little bit suspicious, or not suspicious because it's not something I really invest energy in, but I'm just sort of a bit disbelieving, I guess, because from what I know of energy, you can't raise your vibration higher than the baggage that you're carrying. So if you've got a deep wound here in your heart, for example, and something that you're struggling to get over, it's going to be very difficult to upgrade your energy to move you to a new level of vibration, if you like, while you're still holding the rawness of that wound. And it's okay. We all go through our stuff. So we work through our things, we shift that wound as much as we can, and then automatically we'll go through that sort of energy rising. So that's where the sort of Kundalini fits in. So it runs and connects all of these 7 major chakras together. So we have, I'll just briefly touch on these, but like I say, if you want more information, if you want to go deeply into these, which I highly recommend, it's something that I find really helpful, then please have a look at my chakra series on my website. So the first chakra is down here at the tailbone, and it's the base chakra. It has all of these have other words too. I call it the base. So the base chakra is our most physical of the chakras, and it's usually red in color, and it's connected with our grounding, our physicality, our survival needs, our survival mode. So if you're going through a lot of survival stuff, connecting with finances, health, roof over your head, or shelter, you might be very much quite active in your base chakra. If you're having issues in your tailbone or with your bowel movements and things, that will probably connect back to the base chakra to look at, okay, what is your body trying to tell you? That's what I'd be doing. And then the second chakra here is the sacral, and it's just below the navel, and it's usually orange, and it's our center for emotional, sexual, and creative energy. Now this chakra and all these other ones up to the third eye have a front and a back. So the sacral chakra, this is pictured at the front, but it also vortexes out at the back, at the lower back. So back issues around the lower back, or stomach issues, reproductive issues around the belly at the front, will likely connect back with the sacral chakra, and perhaps a block or something that's going on in there. So it might be an emotional, sexual, or creative block connection, for example. And then we move up to the third chakra, which is just above the navel, and that's the solar plexus. The solar plexus chakra is our power center. So it's our center for personal power, strength, and courage. And it has a front and a back as well. So the back would be around the middle back. Like I said in the healing video, the healing part of the eCourse, the back energy is usually connected with the past. The front energy is usually connected more with the present or the future. So the solar plexus chakra, our power center. So when we're feeling nervous and anxious and we get butterflies in our belly, it's usually around the solar plexus chakra. So when there's a loss of power, or we're giving our power away, or we're feeling disempowered or scared or fearful, then it will usually stir up energy here in the solar plexus chakra. Then we've got the heart up here. So the heart is our center for love, and also for connection. So not just only loving in others, but also loving in ourselves and loving life. Also, I find acceptance issues tend to come back to the heart. So again, there's a front and a back, and this back is connected between the shoulder blades if you're having physical issues there. Then up to chakra number 5, which is the throat. The throat chakra sits here in the throat, and it's our center for communication, expression, and truth, and feeling safe to speak our truth and be who we are. It's one of the ones I probably see the most blocked, but it is the one I've been clearing the most too. So I may have been attracting and noticing that tends to be the most blocked. We can tend to feel it quite strongly in the throat if we have got energy stirring, because it might be a lump in the throat, it might be a change to the sound of our voice. So our voice and expressing ourselves through there can be a big indicator as to what's blocking us in the throat. And then up to the 6th chakra, which is the third eye. The third eye chakra is our center for vision, intuition, and trust. So the back of the third eye chakra extends down to the base of the skull. So it goes sort of diagonally through the head, through there. So this is usually in this area is where I see people's trust issues. And up here in the crown, the 7th chakra, that sits on the crown of our head, and that's our center for connection. So connecting with the world beyond the physical, but also connecting with the physical world of ours. So we're going to refer back to this chart when we start doing the aura drawing and chakra drawing shortly. So the auras, there are so many layers of the aura that I'm not even aware of myself. So the first layer of the aura, which just gently well, not gently, pretend I didn't even say that, that extends out from our body, our physical body. That first layer is called the etheric body, the etheric layer of our aura. And that's the area, that's the body, the aura layer where our 7 chakras reside. So that aura, that part of us, is closest to our physical body. Because the further we get away into our aura layers, the further away they are in vibration, which is why it's really difficult to sense like the 100th layer of the aura, because it's just like vibrations away from where we're residing right now in our physical body. So on our physical body, oh, sugar. The cat is scratching at the door and scared me. Yeah, so it's very difficult because we're in this physical body at this certain vibration. Like if we were, if our body was a key on a piano and we were the lowest key, do, 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 or whatever, it's very difficult for us to connect from that lowest key to the highest key, which might be connecting, say, with our soul, or let's say the 100th layer of our aura. So it's very much easier for us to pick up vibrationally the next note on the piano, which is our etheric layer of our aura, where our 7 major chakras reside. Now, there are many, many more chakras. So there are more chakras I would call secondary chakras. I feel these 7 are our primary ones, and they're the ones we tap into the strongest because they are closest to our physical body in vibration. So we have our etheric layer of our aura is our first layer. The second layer of our aura is our hara body. Our hara body is our emotional body, and it's usually softer, pastel-y sort of colours if you're open to the colours of the aura and you can sense those. And it's a bit more difficult to tap into because it's 2 notes away on the keyboard, if you like. The next layer of our aura is our mental body. So the mental body, and what I feel with the mental body, although I haven't tuned into it a lot to know for sure, but what I'm sensing is that our mental layer of our aura is like a grid that we tap into the universal mind, and that's how we can tune in to other people or be picking up other people's things without realizing it. You know, we might go to call someone and they were just about to pick up the phone and call us. And that connection we seem to have with others, I feel that it probably connects in with the mental layer of our aura, and I feel it's a big grid around us, and that grid connects in like with a cord to the universal mind. That's kind of a suspicion I have, but I haven't really looked into it to know whether I believe that 100% or not yet. And then there's other layers of the aura too. So what we're really interested in connecting with, especially with our aura drawing, is our first layer of our aura, the etheric body. So what we'll be tuning into is the chakras, and we'll also be tuning into the area around our body. Now, there's some common things I see when I'm doing aura drawings, and I don't do them a lot now, but I did them for years when I was on eBay. It was one of the most popular services, and it was so much fun. Some popular things that I see with aura and chakra drawing and connecting in that way, and it's so much better than one of those photos, which I must say, just whisper to you that I feel they're a scam. But I feel like intuitively connecting through drawing can be actually really revealing. So something I commonly see is people very active in the mind. So they have very heavy mind energy. So they might be thinking negative thoughts, worrying a lot, stressing out, and they're really mentally active. So they'd have an extension of their aura around their head. So this would probably be quite large, quite chaotic, quite messy looking, and unstable, we could say. And what I see in the aura, which is why I sort of know it to be the way it happens, is that the energy down here, usually from here down, or even higher up sometimes if the mind energy is very, very active, this will be drained. And all the energy will be up here. There'll be pretty much nothing down in this area, which means that person's very ungrounded and all their energy is being sent up to their mind. So that's something quite common that I see when I'm connecting with auras and chakras and doing this sort of drawing stuff we're going to be doing. Sometimes too I might see wounds that show up as like a brown or a black or a messy sort of point or arrow or something that's going on in the chakras here. The left and right sides can also be big indicators, which is what I talked about a lot in the last part of the eCourse, the healing part. So if there's a predominant energy weighing down on the left or the right, then that's also pointing out something out of balance in the energy. So what we're going to do, because I'm going to change the view of the camera in a minute down onto my table, we're going to, and I'll send this out, you've probably already got it. I'm going to be working with this template, this human template. It's got the 7 major chakras circled in here. So you don't need to know really what they're about yet, or as you're drawing or as you're playing around with this idea. You can look into it later. So like when I'm doing a spirit guide drawing, for example, it'd be very rare, probably 5% of the time, that I will be, actually, no, it's really hardly ever that I am interpreting, that's the word I was looking for before, that I'd be interpreting as I'm drawing or grabbing a colour and interpreting that as meaning this. It's more of me being in the role of an artist, me being in the role of my intuition and just letting the colours and the patterns and the movements speak to me. That's the mode I'm in. And then when I finish the drawing, even the drawings that end up being in my card decks, when I finish that, then I stop. I'm not in an artist mode then. I'm not in drawing mode. I'm stepped back and now I'm in interpreting mode. So I'll be able to interpret, okay, this feels like that. And when I drew that in, it sort of felt like that was coming forward, or that was, so I tune in and interpret afterwards. So don't feel you have to remember all the chakra meanings as you're drawing or beforehand. In fact, what I would recommend is that you put all that aside. Everything that you know and what I've told you or what you intuit from your chakras and your aura and the different parts of your body, put that aside. See if you can sort of just slide it on out of your mind as we prepare to bring full focus to you. We're doing a drawing. We're going to be doing an aura and chakra drawing for you. You're going to be doing one for yourself. So I'll talk more about whatever I need to talk about as we go. So let's start. Okay, so we are here ready to do an aura and chakra drawing. Just remember that this is a very personal thing. Think about your psychic senses or your intuition, the voice of your psychic senses, and what's strongest for you. So at one time we had a young man who had very strong claircognizance and clairaudience, so hearing energy and a gut feeling, and that could be really difficult to interpret in something like this that's on paper and with colours, because there's no feeling attached. We get feelings with colours, we also get the visual with colours. So that particular aura drawing that this guy did was very much with pencil, and he just drew little shapes and things in different parts, and that was perfectly fine for him. So just because I do this my way doesn't mean you have to do it the same as me. You might do something similar to me, that's totally fine. You might do something totally different. So you may look at this, and as we start tuning in, you might find that the material, the medium that I'm using just doesn't work for you. That's okay. So please trust your intuition. So, grabbed a pen. Well, first of all, we've got this. So print out your paper if you want to try this. I am using soft pastels. I thought about using pencils because I thought that you might have pencils on around. Maybe you might have coloured pencil somewhere accessible, and you can use coloured pencil. You can use any medium here at all, But then I thought, no, I want to really show you and use the medium I prefer. I actually like soft pastels for aura and chakra drawing because they're a lot like how the energy feels to me and how I interpret that specific energy. So when I'm tuning into the aura or tuning into the chakras, a lot of the time it's difficult to explain in words, but I find the pastel, a smear of pastel can be just exactly what I'm picking up. So I find these the closest that I've found to actually the energy of the aura and the chakras themselves. But as I said, this is a very personal thing for me and something I just want to show you as an example of something that I really resonate with. I could get pencils out and I'd do an okay job, but I'd probably only be 70% happy with what they were presenting on the paper in regards to what I'm actually sensing. So soft pastels it is. These are pretty easy to find in Kmart and just places like that. You can get small packs that have, as long as they've got, you know, the sort of main colours, you'll be totally fine. They're a bit messy, but they're lots of fun. So whenever I start my aura drawing, I always put the person's name that I am doing this for on top. Just to make, this is just part of my way of tuning in. So I put the person's name and I put the date. That's just for my own reference and just for my own tuning in. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do it, and then you can work out what you want to do. So that's what I do. If I was doing this for you, I'd have your name up there and today's date. So what I'm looking at now is putting the stuff I know about the chakras aside, and there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can look at the figure and imagine that's me. So I can picture myself, this is me. And I can then grab colours and just basically do whatever I want going through the body and then interpret it later. The other thing I could do, and sometimes do a combination of both, is I can feel into my own body, my physical body, and feel, say, a heaviness here. So I might feel that heaviness. Okay, what colour does that heaviness feel like? Maybe a bit of a dirty brown, and it's just a small energy like a thing here. So I might just draw that in as a small little bit of brown. So, and sometimes I do a combination of both. So I might look at this, imagine that's me. I'll also tune into my body and interpret what I'm feeling in my body as colours and marks and movements. I have to be really open with my senses. My intuition has to be really switched on. And I also need to be trusting it fully. Because remember, any little bit of doubt is going to make for really an inaccurate connection. The other thing that might draw me are the colours. So I might be really drawn to with my eyes. My eyes might not be able to get past this beautiful apple green. So if I've got all my pastels out, but this colour just seems to just keep pulling me, I can trust that. And then I might ask this screen, okay, where is it? What do you want? Do you want a big swoosh over here? Are you just kind of a circle in one of these chakra circles? Where do you want to go? So I can also communicate with my colours that way. Now, I don't have to fill in every single chakra spot. So it will just depend on what feels right at the time. I don't want to overthink it, because overthinking is also a way to limit the intuition. So I want to have my overthinking mind out of the way. I want to have no expectations, not think that, you know, I have a bright blue aura, because that's what the aura photo I had last week says, because they are totally inaccurate. I want to just be in the moment. I want to connect with the materials I'm using and my paper. So I'm not going to talk because I want to concentrate. So what I'm going to do now is just go to town on this piece of paper, which is me connecting with me, and then I'm going to interpret that. So take a nice big breath and we'll see where or what happens here. And the other good thing with pastels is you can smudge them. But you might end up with browny colours, which I feel and what I've noticed through my experience, everything in the drawing, even bits that end up muddier than we planned, or sometimes fingerprints can leave these little orby things. Everything in the drawing means something, whether it was intentional or not. Whoops, the kid came and put a big red right across here. No accident. Now, some of the connections are going to be big and flowing and full like this. Others are going to be very focused, like here. Feel this strong, soft, but quite smaller compared to that energy here in the heart. It's got this yellow tinge. Now, so remember that I've been doing this for a long time. My intuition is very strong and I know what I'm doing with these colours. So try not to be too hard on yourself if you're, wanting to... Don't compare yourself to me is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now I feel like the green's just a bit deeper here under the arms, so I'm going to use just a little touch of darker green and then blend it into that lighter green, which is predominantly what I'm feeling here. Okay. And if it's energy that feels like it's moving, you can use the moves that you make to get the moving going. And see, I've got a line in the table that's showing up here underneath. So that's no accident. We'll use that as part of our interpretation. And then around the feet, feeling this, where's the shade one I want? This brown. Excuse me. So there's energy moving in my throat as I'm doing this. Make sure I feel that. It's probably a bit darker than what I'm actually sensing. So I could either lighten that with a bit of white or a light colour. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so that's pretty much all I need to connect with for this example. So I'm just going to get the excess pastel off. And that's my energy that I'm tuning into now. So when I'm done, I mean, I could keep going. You can keep going and going and going in these things, because as you can tune in and as your intuition's picking things up, then more things are picked up and more things. So there's lots of stuff that, there's a depth that we could go and we could just keep going. So instead of being drawing here for half an hour, I think I'll just stop here and interpret this. So because I'm interpreting this for myself and you'll be interpreting yours for yourself, we have to sort of be a bit neutral if we can, and just see things for how they are rather than taint things too much. but at the same time too, we should be able to relate to what we're talking about. So I should be able to say something. I don't know what these things mean yet because I haven't tuned in. I should be able to interpret this and be able to relate, because this is my energy now as I'm tuning in. Unless I was doubtful or hesitant, then it may be a bit messy what I'm interpreting and what I feel to be true. So it feels like here down my left side, so that's the left side, yeah, it feels this blue, so blue leading into purple is what I feel. I feel like this softness coming in on my left side. So the blue, we could, it depends what our own colour interpretation is. I tend to link things back to the chakras. So I feel blue is very much about my truth, and the violet is about the wisdom that I'm gaining from the truth. And there is a lot of truth energy around for me personally right now. So I'm actually, now I look at it, I'm not surprised there's quite a bit of blue in the aura, because I am establishing and anchoring and reinforcing, that's the best word, reinforcing my truth. It has been challenged in the last week or so with different situations, not in a big way, but just helping me reinforce my personal truth. So my truth is being reinforced, and it's bringing through a wisdom, which I'm seeing here through the purple. Also, I'm doing a lot of talking because I've spent this time sharing with you in the eCourse. So there's also a lot of communicating that's taking place and sharing my wisdom through my throat and through speaking. There's a bit of a green energy that just hooks up here. Can you see that very well? There's a green energy there, and it's a bit lighter, just going a bit murkier through here. So the green is about growth and healing in the mind, because it's around the mind energy. And the yellow that I'm picking up, it's just a bit more yellow through there. That's a power that's coming into the mind too, like a mental strength. So as I'm getting more in control, if you like, of my mind thoughts and following my dedications and staying on top of what I'm thinking, then that's bringing also a confidence, a power into my mind. But the green is showing me that I'm going through healing and growth on a mental level. This quite thick energy here, it's a lighter sort of beigey sort of colour, and it feels to me like it comes up out of my crown, which is actually quite wide. It's a bit wider than my head, and it's very active. It feels thick, like a real thick cloud, moving up and moving out to the page here. So this shows me I have a really strong connection at the moment to spirit and connection to who I am. So that's very active. That energy there is very active, coming through and connecting me to all the things that I'm connected to. There's a stronger blue energy that's coming through here that's going from the heart to the third eye chakra. So this feels to me like my intuition really quite active and really honed at the moment, especially as I'm in this active communication and sharing time with you. And this is also bringing through this burst of yellow that's going into green as it mixes with the blue. So this burst of yellow is bringing an empowerment. It feels like an empowerment coming in here. So it's not me standing in my ego. This is me sharing from my heart, sharing from my intuition, using my voice, and using that in that way is empowering. So that gold is shooting out and down my left arm here as I'm sharing and expressing myself. The heart feels very pink. So there's a softness, a pink, a compassion, a caring that's coming through the heart just naturally. And extending out from that is a yellow that's coming a little bit more over to the right shoulder. So that yellow, again, we can connect with the solar plexus, which is our strength, our confidence in our heart, a confidence in our softness, but also a protection that doesn't have to be, like for me, my protection doesn't have to be enforced every day, because it's got to a point now where it just is. So I know that I'm protected, and I trust I am, and that's sort of guarding naturally my heart and extending up here to my right shoulder. I've got a strong energy here coming through my solar plexus chakra, actually, which is my power center, and it's bringing a lot of passion, a lot of emotion and creativity. It's actually sitting in and really quite strong there in my solar plexus. So this shows me that there's a lot of confidence and power that I can gain, that I receive through creating, and especially going through this big creative surge with developing my ceramics and getting ready for the kiln to be on and things. That's a very powerful. I'm really drawn to that as standing out. There's a little bit of yellow, red in that too. The red has overlapped, so that tells me this is very practical. And what I'm doing, the passion that I'm developing here in my solar plexus, is actually helping bring the creativity and anchoring that into my life. So this is very physical, this red. This shows me that I'm very grounded emotionally right now, which is very true. And I'm also very grounded in my physical reality. So just the daily activities and things that I deal with in my physical life, with my family, my finances, food, and just dealing with physical things is quite strong right now too. So that all feels really good. There's a strong green around here, deeper around the armpits, coming around the sides of the hips. So the green to me is about growth. It's about healing. So this shows me a growth and healing and almost a balancing that's coming up on the sides here of my torso. The blue coming through here, again, is about communication and truth for me. But there is a darker blue that's kind of flicking in here, but especially around my hand and my arm. So this to me feels like this is what I'm creating. Some strong truths is what I'm reinforcing as I move my hand, as I create, as I express, as I communicate. There's a bit of a dark energy smear here. So that's probably some old energy I'm shifting out as I work on really living and communicating, expressing my truth. Living it's more important to me than communicating it, because everyone has different truths. So I'm more interested in creating or just going about my everyday life being my truth. And then this strong grounding energy here, it's like a dust cloud, a dust from the earth that's swept up all around here, so high up on my thighs and sweeping across here to the left side. So there's a lot of strong grounding energy, very practical energy that's coming through too. So this feels very positive to me. Grounded. There's a general sense of balance through here. We've got strong energy here, we've got strong energy here. The left and right sides feel fairly balanced, although this left side's a little bit softer and extending out further, and this side feels a bit stronger and more defined. So I can use that and look at, okay, how can I get just a little bit more balance in there as well. But in general, it's pretty good. So what I can do now with this is helps me understand where I'm currently at, what I can adjust, what I can embody to help keep myself balanced and clear things that may be presenting themselves in my life. So have a go, see what you can create, and then use your interpretations to work out what the colours are meaning. So you could look up colours, and blue might mean this and pink and that means that. I really feel it's a personal thing too. So to me it's more of a feeling. So I get the feeling of this being cloudy dust sweeping up from the earth, and just like a really grounded, solid, anchored feeling to me. I get a strong passion feeling with this. So as you get to know your colour palette and the material that you're using for your colour, you will get to know, especially if you're sensitive to feeling, if you're clairsentient, you might get to know what the colours feel like and the movement, you know, that you can create, and the feeling and the harshness, the softness that brings up, the denseness. So that area feels dense to me. That feels dense. That feels somewhat dense, but a little bit more dusty. So over the years, I've done this for a long time. I've been able to sort of interpret what I'm sensing into these pastels fairly easily. So have a go, see how you go, and please share your pictures in our Facebook group if you're inspired to. So I trust you enjoy doing some aura and chakra drawing. You can do some for other people as well. So I will be putting their name and the date on the top, and then just tune in so you can play with that. We will talk more about tuning in to other people in the next segment when we're talking about readings and things. So you might want to practice on yourself, and then we'll talk about the tuning in, and you can apply that to your aura drawing if you want to. It's lots of fun. So our aura is always moving and fluxing. we have a thought and our aura responds, or maybe our aura does this and we respond with a thought. So passions, pulls, disappointments, depression, all these things can show up in your aura, your auric energy. It's always moving and shifting. So have fun playing with yours. We're now going to activate our third eye chakra. So the third eye chakra is our center for vision, intuition and trust. And really to help you, what the purpose of doing a bit of an activation here is to help open up this area, clear off any wounds or blocks that you have here. A lot of people, when they're christened or baptized, they have this area sealed shut with a cross. So we'll be opening, clearing any old wounds or old shutting down here that's happened in the third eye chakra for you. And then we'll look at filling that up with some really nice energy and really getting this opening as much as it can open. That should help you be able to see and interpret and intuit what it is that you're tuning into. So take a nice big breath. We're going to do this together now. I'm going to use a combination of my chakra chimes and my crystal singing bowl. So this crystal singing bowl, it actually resonates with the throat chakra, but we're going to use this to help bring the truth forward. So when the truth comes forward, it also helps shift away illusion. So we're looking at shifting away illusion, old beliefs, the closing off, sealing shut of your third eye chakra, and any band-aids or coverings or stuff that you've smeared over it energetically that have shut down your intuition. And that can happen from many different sides. We could have had some negative experiences or be told that it's not the right thing to have active or open. And there's a lot of power for us as we develop and trust our intuition. So there are institutions, there are, let's say, groups in the world that want to keep us feeling separate and low and divided. So to stand more in our power and to survive in this world of separation and conflict and drama and negativity, it would help us to keep our third eye chakra nice and open and active. So let's start by clearing out illusion. So take a nice big breath, and you may, in fact, I encourage you to, unless you really feel you can't, I encourage you to put your three fingers, your three middle fingers, I've just done drawing, so I've got three dirty fingers, but your three middle fingers on your main hand, and place the fingertips here on your third eye chakra. If you want to, you can also add the three fingers from your non-dominant hand and sit those there at the base of your skull. So just below your occipital bone, you know, that bone there at the base of the skull, and just hold this position. So what we're wanting to do now is work with our own energy, so our own hands, and our intention to clear all illusions and blocks and wounds that we are willing to let go of here in our third eye chakra. So take some big breaths, and you can trust your intuition, so let the energy do what it needs to do. Trust in where you need to guide it. As you let go of everything that's holding you back, sealing you shut, and blocking your intuition. Be willing to let go. Let the wounds, let the seals, let the coverings go. It is safe for you to be intuitive. It is safe for you to be psychic, we could say, to be spiritual. And some of us have old wounds from the past, even past lives, where we may have even been tortured or hurt from following our spiritual and intuitive interests. So let go of those wounds too, your fear, And know that it is safe. It's very safe for you to be doing what you need to do to empower and enrich yourself and your life. Let it go. Okay, as you let things go, as you clear out this little room of your third eye chakra, the front and the back, let's fill it up now, this little chamber of your third eye chakra, front and back. Let's fill it up with some nice, sparkly, alive energy. And I'm seeing this as a silver, like a silver, partially liquid energy that's pouring in to the chamber of your third eye chakra. So let it come in. Don't be afraid. Trust that you are safe, and trust your third eye chakra is only going to fill up with what it needs. Mine may fill up a bit more than yours, or yours may fill up a bit more than mine. Yours may not be silvery energy. You may be picking up something gold or blue or some other colour that you can think about later. Just trust whatever the vibration and the energy feels like that you need. So breathe into it. Don't doubt yourself so much. You don't need to seek validation or confirmation. If you're sensing it, then you can trust it. And if you're not sure, weigh it up against your own common sense. Be careful of seeking approval and confirmation or validation of your own intuition. As you're developing your trust around it, you may appreciate some confirmation, but don't let it be a crutch for you. Reach a point where you don't need it anymore, and you can just trust in what you're picking up. So let your third eye chakra open up and blossom like a beautiful flower here on your forehead. Feel this flower open up as it blossoms and grows, helping you become who you want to be, especially intuitively, and in tapping into that beautiful anchoring, tangible energy of trust. So 3 nice big breaths. And so it is. You can trust that you've received what you needed. And if you couldn't go very deep because you weren't sure, then come back and connect with it as deep as you can in those moments. So I trust you're feeling awake and alive and maybe seeing the world. Maybe the colours look a little bit brighter to you as this is popped open for you. So you can work with this now to help you tap further into and understand your intuition, your psychic senses, and how you can trust it in your life. Use it to sense your chakras, to sense what's going on in your aura, and use what you discover to help you understand where you may need to give some attention or where you may need to get some balance back into yourself. So use what you pick up. So what you sense with your aura drawing, or what you sense intuitively, whether you don't use a visual, you might not need a visual like this. Use it now to your advantage. Use it to help you understand yourself better and what's driving you right now, or what's out of balance. So thank you so much. I do have one question I want to quickly tap into. It's from Ita, and it's connected with this specific topic. Ita asks if there's any advice on fine-tuning and dealing practically with our spiritual gifts. So the best advice, and I've probably really tapped on this before, is to accept and develop your spiritual gifts. So your spiritual gifts, we could say your psychic senses, but it probably includes more. So when we think of our spiritual gifts, we might think of the spiritual things that we feel at home with. So like for me, part of my spiritual gifts would be through my art. I've developed it, I've worked with it, I can tell a lot about someone just through drawing and connecting with them. Also another spiritual gift I guess I have is interpreting cards, because I've been doing that for a long time too. So the experience and letting my intuition develop and trusting it more has opened up and revealed these gifts to me. So for you now, your spiritual gift might be that you're an empath. That might be all it is at the moment, but you've also got a love for chakras or cards or healing or whatever it might be that you're interested in. So then you can focus on those things that you're interested in to let those turn into spiritual gifts that you work with and develop. So definitely accepting your spiritual gifts, developing them. If you're rejecting them, I'd be looking at why are you scared of them? Why are you rejecting them? So accepting, developing, and really working out how to use your gifts and use these things that you respond to and that you enjoy doing, use those in your everyday life. So that's the practical nature. So dealing with them practically, actually we'll also look at that from another angle. Dealing practically, I'm also not really, I'm a bit of a private person, which you might not realize if you only connect with me online. But I'm not the type of person that goes around, well, definitely not reading other people, like I said, but I don't talk about my spiritual stuff much. Even with my children who are now 18 and 20, I mean, I had stuff around, I do spirit guide drawings around them, but I don't push, and I don't talk really about anything that's around that I do to the everyday person. When someone that I don't know very well comes up and asks me what do, I kind of take a moment to kind of feel on how deep do I explain what do I do. Do I just simply say I'm an artist and that be it? Is that the capacity that they might understand what I do? Or do I reel off all the stuff that I do? Very, very rarely. They have to be ready to be there for a while, for one. So to practically deal with my spiritual gifts also means to me that I honor them privately. I honor them personally, and I don't need to project or talk about all the things that are my spiritual gifts with other people who might not get it. I don't want to subject people to something they might not believe in or might not understand. It's awkward for them, and it's also awkward for me. So people who I don't usually talk to, like family members, they can quite often come up to me at random times and ask me about things that they kind of suspect that I do. I would hope that people would think that I'm approachable. If not, then I guess that's their own projection. But I'd like to know that people think that I'm approachable, and if they wanted to ask me something about card reading, that they could contact me or call me. So, you know, I'm happy to talk about stuff, but I certainly don't bring it up unless it's a group that's revolving around spiritual stuff. That's why retreats are fun, because we get to just talk spiritual all the time without worrying or holding back because whether someone might understand or not. So I think dealing with our spiritual gifts practically also means sort of picking and choosing our conversations as well about them. So we don't have to broadcast. I don't have to broadcast to every man and his dog at the post office or at the supermarket or in my family or at band. Or in the art group or whatever. I don't have to broadcast that I'm doing spirit guide drawings because that's my spiritual gift or something I'm really passionate about. If they want to know what I'm passionate about right now and they ask me, then I'm happy to share it. But I won't just go and offer that information. So I think dealing practically with our gifts is also picking and choosing when we communicate with it. And when we have our journal, we can use that as our outlet if we don't really have many people around who might understand or not understand what it is our spiritual gifts are. So I think picking and choosing and just recognizing that it is a personal thing and using our journal to express, maybe meditation classes, like-minded groups are a great place to go and, talk about this stuff that we're so interested in, but in the everyday sense, not so much. So I trust that helps. Definitely fine-tuning your gifts and just can keep following them. Be curious about them. Let them develop. Let them evolve. Let them become your own unique spiritual gift. So thanks so much for connecting. I trust you found this helpful. Lots to take on in again, so just settle and sit with it as you need to. Next time is the last one of the eCourse. It's number 5 and it's psychic skills. We're going to be looking at reading for ourselves and reading for others. So it's very much about tuning into other people. We're going to be looking deeply at the cards and intuiting those. Using the cards to help us, to help other people if that's what we want to do. So that'll be lots of fun. So I look forward to connecting with you then. Thank you so much. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me through my website at templeofbalance.com.au. Thank you so much and enjoy. Bye for now.